Hey, this is OXDF, and today we're taking another dive into Malware Bazaar. Today there's a link file and a JavaScript file. They're uploaded by the same time, same person, and we can actually check their relationships, and then it says that the link file leads to the JavaScript file. And I thought that might be kind of fun to check out. So we're going to look in the link file, understand how it downloads the JavaScript file and executes it, and then we're going to, go through a few hundred lines of JavaScript and see how it sets up, downloads, and runs another executable. So it's interesting, and let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so let's take a look on Malware Bazaar. We've got these, if I scroll down here, I can see there's two samples in a row submitted both at 1618 here for a JavaScript file and an LNK file, both by abuse.ch, both tagged with guildmod, Roth. I'm not sure what these things are, but they definitely seem related. In fact, if we open up the link file here and scroll down, we can see, this was a web download. That's interesting. What to think? I'm not exactly sure what that means. I mean, it sounds like some not being phished, but rather, a link on a website somewhere, with a link file coming back, and then it contains this JavaScript file. So these are definitely related. We'll also check out this, the abuse.ch folks noted here the guildmod malware distribution domains and botnet C2 domains. So we'll see if we can find some or all of these in our analysis. We will jump really quickly over to a Windows VM, and I've got the link file right here. I gave it the original name that it had in Malware Bazaar. If we right-click on it, we can take a look at it with properties. We can see the target here. It's quite long. We'll get it easier in a minute. It's going to run out of System32 with like a real funky casing. That's never legit. You can see the icon here. If we click on it, they're loading it out of, again, funky System32 out of conhost.exe, using the terminal icon. It's interesting. Like a lot of times you see things like PDFs or Word docs here for the icon. Like they must be maybe targeting a technical audience. Hard to say for sure. All right, so we'll cancel that, and that's really all we need to do here in Windows. We'll go back. We're gonna do analysis in Linux. So let's go ahead and run. So we can run lnkparse. It's a pip install capital LNK capital PARSE3 gives you this tool, and we can run this. Oh, actually, before we do, we probably have to unzip. So we'll 7-zip extract 3e.zip password infected. We will 7-zip extract, what's the other one? E something and infected. Now we've got both of these here. Oops. All right, and so we can LNK parse on the 3E1. And it helps if I fill out the full path. We can scroll up to the top here and see nothing super interesting up here. The timestamps that come in the link file are actually all wiped out. So someone took a little bit of anti-forensic behavior or maybe generated this via script. Nothing super interesting here. We can see, I believe in here somewhere we would see the icon entry. I'm not sure where. Anyway, the important part here, the command line arguments. It's going to run out System32, and it's going to run comspec and this stuff right here. Comspec, it's an interesting one. So let's jump over to the Windows VM real quick. If I come over here, open up a terminal and do echo $comspec, like that, you get the full path to cmd.exe. And this is the trick you see attackers use all the time when it's to the point that it's not even really surprising anymore. But anytime you see comspec, you can just think cmd.exe. So it's running cmd. I don't remember off the top of my head what /v and /dr, but /c means run the following string as a command. And then we got this. So let's grab this string. And we'll copy this, and we will call it vim. Oops, we have to go down. Let's see, vim. What are we going to call this? Link payload.bat. I call it .bat because that's what runs on a thing. We're not going to run it. We're just going to add some white space here. So anytime I see ampersand, that basically means assuming the previous one was successful, keep going. So we're just going to basically do a new line for that. I can do a find and replace, but there's really not that many here. Do I need that? There we go. And there we go, like that. So this is basically, one more. Like this. So this first line, MD, and then a path null. But luckily, it's going to direct the results to dev null is the Windows equivalent of dev null, and then it's going to take any errors and send them to standard output to null. So this doesn't matter. These carets are irrelevant in PowerShell and in CMD, so we can get rid of those. And so basically, it's going to set this variable ldbyb to be this path right here, this JavaScript file. Then we're going to echo this long thing into that path. Then we're going to call certutil -f/-decode. And certutil will do a base64 decode of the first item and save it as the second one. So basically, it's going to base64 decode this string and save it back in the same string, and then it's going to call it. And then when I call a Windows call is going to use the file extension to figure out how to run it. So it's going to do a JS file, so it's going to call it with like wscript.exe on the file. So this stuff right here is going to get base64 decoded and run. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. We'll save this. We'll call this stage1.js, and we will paste this in. Oh, we will not paste this in. We will get out of here. We will echo this thing into base64-d and put that into stage1.js. Let's go ahead and switch over. We'll use VS Code to start looking at this now. We're going to say we trust the authors. If you say no, you can't do a lot of things here, and I know there's malware here, but I'm feeling pretty comfortable that I'm going to take care of it. Okay, so we're going to be okay. We're going to say we're okay. Let's see. What do we want to do here? We want to. Oops, I did something. Okay, so let's take. I honestly don't know. Is it possible to find and replace with wildcards here? Can we do find that and replace it with that /n? Over here, replace enter, replace all, because this is going to work. Control Z. Let's get rid of that. There's probably a way to do that in here, and I don't know what it is. Let's see. Can we copy a new line? Oh, I probably could have just put an enter in there. This is working. Let's just do that on all of them. All right, so we got a pretty simple script. It's going to make CFA. It's going to be SCR. Basically, this is going to be script : HTTP : and then this stuff. So it's going to get object that, and presumably it's going to get run somehow. So let's grab this. Oops, yeah. Copy. We'll come back here. We can try to get this. So we can like wget HTTP that. Let's see what happens. And we get a 403 forbidden. So it looks like the C2 is down. Not that's fine. Actually, it's good for the world, right? Someone's taken this. They've taken it down. But this is the JavaScript file that we already have. So here we can switch over here and come back and grab this payload right here. And this is what we would have gotten, would have run. I'm going to create a copy of this just so I can mess around with it. So we'll copy EA.js to stage2.js. We'll come down here now and take a look at this. Now this is actually an XML file, but it's like a packaged version of, you can see this, the language here is JavaScript. I'm actually going to, and then what's in this C data is all of the script itself. So we can come down here to the very bottom and see that's where it ends, it closes out. If we want this to look like JavaScript and to have our syntax highlighting working, we just need to clear away this stuff here. And now we've got normal JavaScript, right? So we can go from here. I'm going to just start naming stuff. That's always the best way I like to do this. So like, for example, we can rename this as, let's see, rename symbol, F2 will be my thing, file system object ActiveX. And we'll call this a wscript shell ActiveX. And the rest of these things are not set, so we're okay there. We got a function here. Let's close. One thing I like to do when I'm starting through a file is just minimize all the functions, because it just gives you a feel for what's going on, right? So okay, perfect. We've got 4 functions. We've got this thing that gets set to 0. This gets empty to initialized to empty string, and then at the end we call one of the functions. So we can now we have an idea of what we're messing with. I'm kind of curious to see like what is this used for? So if we copy, Control F, Control V, it shows up one more time, a couple more times here. Let's see. Okay, so it's declared up at the top, it's set to 0, and then here it's incremented. So I'm going to just rename this to counter. Seems like pretty clear. Let's check out this one. Control F, Control C, Control F, Control V. It's initialized there. It's initialized to an empty string, and that is it. So we will say, doesn't really matter because it's not used. Empty string. Sweet. Okay. We got minimized here. Let's start at the top here and check this one out. This function is super simple. So it takes an argument and it returns a string from charcode. So we can literally just like, oops, whoa, what did I do here? F2 from charcode. Sweet. And we'll worry about where we call that later, but we've solved that one. Let's look at this next one. Let's make this there. Okay. So this one takes in 2 arguments. And what are we doing with it? We're going to doing a lot of fromCharCode. See, it's good that we have that first function done. Where are you? Oh, you're here. This one is here, and this one is here. Okay. So we don't know what this is yet. We define that down there. Okay. Maybe we should go do that now then. It's actually in one of these other functions, I guess. But presumably it's getting called before this. Let's do that. Let's come here and look at these. So one thing that I think is kind of neat that we can do, let's open up a terminal in here. And we can run node. Oops, not code. Shoot, code actually does something. We can run node. And it's not going to be quite the same environment necessarily as WScript, but it's going to give us a lot of similar stuff for debugging. It's kind of, so we can at least, in some cases, make it useful. So we'll come here and we'll grab this, and we will paste it in here and hit enter. And now we've got that function. So we can come here and say, let's grab this whole thing. I guess we don't need the space, but we'll put it here. Paste this in. And it's cool. So all of this goes to /transfer this number, priority foreground, this stuff. That doesn't mean a whole lot to me here yet. But let's figure out what this is. And we just have another fromCharCode here. So I'll copy that, paste it into the terminal. See Windows System32. So we can rename this System32 path. Let's do the same for this next one. Copy, Control-Shift-V to paste. Bitsadmin.exe. So we're using bitsadmin. F2 bitsadmin.exe. And then this one, put here, shift end, copy that, paste it in here, and we've got spool drivers color. Now, spool drivers color is a common application whitelisting bypass directory. So that's a neat thing to find here. Spool color. Cool. We have some other stuff here we can just name when we're here. This is public path, and this is /pp. So we're making progress here, naming what's going on in here. Let's come back up towards the top, and we will close the terminal for now. I hope it, well, shoot, that was a problem. We're probably going to use that again. So we now know, in fact, dang, why did I close the terminal? We now know, real quick, let's get my fromCharCode function back in here. Cool. Okay, so now we have this stuff. So we have system32 path, spool color path, bitsadmin.exe. So we have, there's going to be a bitsadmin in the spool color path somehow. And then we are going to call that with this, copy, fill that in. So bitsadmin /transfer this number, priority foreground, object1, object2, true, and that's the end of the thing. And then this 0 true is part of the WScript shell running thing. And then we're going to return success. So let's look up bits admin slash transfer example. See if we can figure out what this does. Let's see, transfer a file. So bits admin transfer my download job. So that's probably just like an arbitrary job name, which they're giving this number. Priority foreground. So I mean, I guess it's gonna happen soon. And then you give a URL and an output file. So we will call this URL. We'll call this output. We'll call this download to file. Sweet. I think that's our second function. Looking good. Got our first function here is done. Our counter here. This one is our big function, and then we just call this. So let's take a look at what's going on here. This is like a flag that's set to false, and then we're going to call. Interesting. There's a function with. Oh no, this is our first function. This is our. Oh, we skipped a function. So we've downloaded the file. What does this one do? Okay. Interestingly, you can see the second one is nice and grayed out, so we know it's not even being used. So we can ignore that. So the 19 doesn't get used. This 0 gets passed in here. We create a new variable, and we store counter plus the number given equals the thing, which is what we're going to return. Then we increment our counter. How often is this called? Copy, find, paste. Twice, only once. So basically, effectively, we know the counter is initialized to 0. We're going to return 0. So this is going to be 0. And so if it's 0, we're going to get this Chilo, so whatever this is, that's dot makeup. So that's what we're going to use. I guess we're going to say this is like, oops, let's come here in F2, C2 URL, or maybe it's domain. It'll work with URL. So we get that. Basically, oh, that's not C2 URL. This is like C2 URL number, and then this is C2 URL. So now we've got our C2 URL here. We'll scroll down past the rest of this. I wish I could make this terminal way smaller. A lot of these. We're knocking out large parts. So there's 19 different potential URLs here. We've got our path here. So we're going to check and see if the public path / pp exists. If so, we're going to set this flag true, otherwise false. So we will say like, what are we going to call this? pp exists. So now, and otherwise, if it doesn't exist, we're going to save this file path, c:/z, some numbers //, and then we're going to echo this variable, that path into the public path / pp and exit. And then we're going to say it existed, we're going to set it exists to false. So if it doesn't already exist, now we're going to get these other things. So we will call this like auto it exe, auto it log, auto it temp. It's as good as anything. We have another file scripting object, so we'll call this a file system obj ActiveX. I think there was another one just like that already, but I think I named it slightly different. Let's see, this is our CZ num path. So now we're going to say create that folder for CZ num path because it didn't exist. And then we're still in it doesn't exist. We're going to call run, and then we got fromCharCode. Figure out what this one does. I don't know if this is all going to exist or not, but let's try it. Colorcpl.exe plus the bitsadmin, the system32 bitsadmin.exe. Colorcpl.exe. What does that do? Is that like a is that like a is this another app blocker bypass kind of thing?
Hey, this is XDF from the future here. So I'm about to start researching colorcpl.exe here, and my internet dies in the VM, and in editing, I'm realizing it's just not good video. So I want to jump in and show this cleanly. At the end of that video, I do have this prediction.
So we're going to run colorcpl.exe, and then we're going to pass it the path to the legit bitsadmin executable. And we know that we already are interested in a bitsadmin executable in the color directory. So I'm guessing this is some sort of thing that is meant to say like, hey, register this as a color, something involved in the color spool thing. And so grab this binary and put a copy there. That's my guess is what this is going to do.
So I want to do that a little bit more justice. So the first thing I realized we can try is let's just go to Windows VM and see what happens when we run this, right? So if we run dir Windows system 32 spool drivers color, and we look what's there. There's some camp, some stuff. I don't know. This is a directory that's well known for being on the app locker bypass, which means you can run arbitrary executables out of here, probably because drivers for the printing and spooling are arbitrary, and there's too many it was too hard to whitelist them all, right? So I don't know if that's still the case, but that's where we are, right? So what if you can't copy in here, but you want to? Let's see what happens if we run colorcpl.exe, and then we do just what they did in the thing, C Windows system 32 bitsadmin. If we run that, nothing happens. But if we now look in color, we now have a copy of bitsadmin there, which is just what we were going to guess is going to happen. The other thing I did do a little bit of research. I'm actually going to switch over to Edge on my Linux machine, which still weirds me out. I tried looking it up in Bing Chat. It actually did a terrible job. So it does tell me this is colorcpl belongs to the control panel. It allows you to manage color settings for devices. I asked what happens when I run this at the command prompt, and it says, oh, it's not going to work. That's not how it's meant to run. So it failed this. It doesn't know. But a little bit of Googling, I found this GitHub entry in these red team countermeasures repo, which is actually really interesting. If you aren't aware of the story, this was, I believe, 2020. FireEye's red team got breached by an adversary, and a bunch of their red team tools got leaked or were taken. And so, being the responsible citizen that they decided to put out a bunch of indicators and rules to flag their own techniques that they were worried were their sensitive techniques. They didn't want bad guys using those techniques to own people. And so one of these is suspicious execution of colorcpl.exe. And it shows using it along with like C script, W script, MSHTA. This isn't super meaningful to me. I just thought it was interesting that might be the source of this. It does reference these two MITRE attack techniques here, which if you pull up are just using scripting with JavaScript or Visual Basic. So not too interesting, but I think it's all about getting around countermeasures. I did also find this tweet here from ERAL4M, basically confirming exactly what we've just proved, which is that this, if you color CPL and then an exe, it copies it into the driver's color directory. So, and from there you can move files out of commonly abused staging areas via process not normally monitored. So there it is. We've kind of figured out what's going on here.
Because then we run bitsadmin.exe reset, the legitimate one. Then we're going to download file, so our C2 URL with this marker to our C's, we're going to get our auto IT.exe, our log. Let's see, some more stuff here, some more different logs. SQLite 3.dll, going to grab temp, boss.log. We're downloading a bunch of stuff here and putting it all into our CZ num path. Same thing. Now we're going to check and say, like, does the exe exist and the log? And if so, pp exists is equal to, we're going to set pp exists equal to true because now that directory does exist. And then we're going to run the auto IT.exe with the auto IT log, and we're going to make sure to set this to true. And that's it. So we've downloaded and run our next executable. Unfortunately, I don't think here we can try to grab this domain exist. That's the one getting used. We're gonna get real bold here and go right into Firefox. Although we were having trouble with internet in general, so that might not work anyway. Interesting. So we have lost internet in this VM, and I'm not going to put it into my host. I can tell you, I tried it earlier. This URL is already down, so we can't get anything from it. That's it though. We were able to take the link file, see where it downloads some JavaScript file and runs it, and then decode how it's going to download a bunch of binaries, a database, all sorts of stuff to the host, all in this file that run the root of C, and then run it, kick it off. And presumably that's going to be the bot that continues to run. So I'm going to go ahead and call it there. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll talk to you next time.